The philosophical scripture, the Discourses, is brought to you by not a prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. Chapter 16. That we ought with caution to enter into familiar intercourse with men. If a man has frequent intercourse with others, either for talk or drinking together, or generally for social purposes, he must either become like them, or change them to his own fashion. For if a man places a piece of quenched charcoal close to a piece that is burning, either the quenched charcoal will quench the other, or the burning charcoal will light that which is quenched. Since, then, the danger is so great, we must cautiously enter into such intimacies with those of the common sort, and remember that it is impossible that a man can keep company with one who is covered with soot without being partaker of the soot himself. For what will you do if a man speaks about gladiators, about horses, about athletes, or, what is worse, about men? Such a person is bad, such a person is good, this was well done, this was done badly. Further, if he scoff, or ridicule, or show an ill-natured disposition, is any man among us prepared like a lute player when he takes a lute, so that as soon as he has touched the strings, he discovers which are discordant, and tunes the instrument? Such a power as Socrates had, who in all his social intercourse could lead his companions to his own purpose. How should you have this power? It is therefore a necessary consequence that you are carried about by the common kind of people. Why, then, are they more powerful than you? Because they utter these useless words from their real opinions, but you utter your elegant words only from your lips. For this reason they are without strength and dead, and it is nauseous to listen to your exhortations and your miserable virtue, which is talked of everywhere. In this way the vulgar have the advantage over you, for every opinion is strong and invincible. Until then, the good sentiments are fixed in you, and you shall have acquired a certain power for your security. I advise you to be careful in your association with like wax in the sun. There will be melted away whatever you inscribe on your minds in the school. Withdraw, then, yourselves far from the sun so long as you have these waxen sentiments. For this reason also philosophers advise men to leave their native country, because ancient habits distract them and do not allow a beginning to be made of a different habit. Nor can we tolerate those who meet us and say, "See, such a one is now a philosopher, who was once so and so." Thus also physicians send those who have lingering diseases to a different country and a different air, and they do right. Do you also introduce other habits than those which you have? Fix your opinions and exercise yourselves in them. But you do not so. You go hence to a spectacle, to a show of gladiators, to a place of exercise, to a circus. Then you come back hither, and again from this place you go to those places, and still the same persons. And there is no pleasing habit, nor attention, nor care about self and observation of this kind. How shall I use the appearances presented to me, according to nature or contrary to nature? How do I answer to them as I ought, or as I ought not? Do I say to those things which are independent of the will, that they do not concern me? For if you are not yet in this state, fly from your former habits, fly from the common sort, if you intend ever to begin to be something. Chapter 17, on Providence. When you make any charge against Providence, consider, and you will learn that the thing has happened according to reason. Yes, but the unjust man has the advantage. In what? In money. Yes, for he is superior to you in this, that he flatters, is free from shame, and is watchful. What is the wonder? But see if he has the advantage over you in being faithful, in being modest. For you will not find it to be so, but wherein you are superior, there you will find that you have the advantage. And I once said to a man who was vexed because Philostorgus was fortunate, would you choose to lie with Sarah? May it never happen. He replied, that this day should come. Why then are you vexed, if he receives something in return for that which he sells? Or how can you consider him happy who acquires those things by such means as you abominate? Or what wrong does Providence, if he gives the better things to the better men? Is it not better to be modest than to be rich? He admitted this. Why are you vexed then, man, when you possess the better thing? Remember, then, always, and have in readiness, the truth that this is a law of nature, that the superior has an advantage over the inferior in that in which he is superior. And you will never be vexed, but my wife treats me badly. Well, if any man asks you what this is, say, my wife treats me badly. Is there, then, nothing more? Nothing. My father gives me nothing. But to say that this is an evil is something which must be added to it externally, and falsely added. For this reason we must not get rid of poverty, but of the opinion about poverty, and then we shall be happy. Chapter 18. That we ought not to be disturbed by any news. When anything shall be reported to you which is of a nature to disturb, have this principle in readiness, that the news is about nothing which is within the power of your will. Can any man report to you that you have formed a bad opinion or had a bad desire? By no means. But perhaps he will report that some person is dead. What then is that to you? He may report that some person speaks ill of you. What then is that to you? Or that your father is planning something or other? Against whom? Against your will? How can he? But is it against your poor body, against your little property? You are quite safe. It is not against you. But the judge declares that you have committed an act of impiety. And did not the judges make the same declaration against Socrates? Does it concern you that the judge has made this declaration? No. Why then do you trouble yourself any longer about it? Your father has a certain duty, and if he shall not fulfill it, he loses the character of a father, of a man of natural affection, of gentleness. Do not wish him to lose anything else on this account. For never does a man do wrong in one thing and suffer in another. On the other side, it is your duty to make your defense firmly, modestly, without anger. But if you do not, you also lose the character of a son, of a man of modest behavior, of generous character. Well then, is the judge free from danger? No, but he also is in equal danger. Why then are you still afraid of his decision? What have you to do with that which is another man's evil? It is your own evil to make a bad defense. Be on your guard against this only. But to be condemned or not to be condemned, as that is the act of another person, so it is the evil of another person. A certain person threatens you, me, no, he blames you. Let him see how he manages his own affairs. He is going to condemn you unjustly. He is a wretched man. Chapter 19. What is the condition of a common kind of man and of a philosopher? The first difference between a common person and a philosopher is this. The common person says, "Woe to me for my little child, for my brother, for my father." The philosopher, if he shall ever be compelled to say, "Woe to me," stops and says, "But for myself." For nothing which is independent of the will can hinder or damage the will, and the will can only hinder or damage itself. If then we ourselves incline in this direction, so as, when we are unlucky, to blame ourselves and to remember that nothing else is the cause of perturbation or loss of tranquillity, except our own opinion, I swear to you by all the gods that we have made progress. But in the present state of affairs we have gone another way from the beginning. For example, while we were still children, the nurse, if we ever stumbled through want of care, did not chide us, but would beat the stone. But what did the stone do? Ought the stone to have moved on account of your child's folly? Again, if we find nothing to eat on coming out of the bath, the pedagogue never checks our appetite, but he flogs the cook. Man, did we make you the pedagogue of the cook, and not of the child? Correct the child, improve him. In this way, even when we are grown up, we are like children. For he who is unmusical is a child in music. He who is without letters is a child in learning. He who is untaught is a child in life. Chapter 20. That we can derive advantage from all external things. In the case of appearances, which are objects of the vision, nearly all have allowed the good and the evil to be in ourselves, and not in externals. No one gives the name of good to the fact that it is day, nor bad to the fact that it is night, nor the name of the greatest evil to the opinion that 3 are 4. But what do men say? They say that knowledge is good, and that error is bad, so that even in respect to falsehood itself there is a good result, the knowledge that it is falsehood. So it ought to be in life also. Is health a good thing, and is sickness a bad thing? No, man. But what is it? To be healthy, and healthy in a right way, is good. To be healthy in a bad way is bad, so that it is possible to gain advantage even from sickness, I declare. For is it not possible to gain advantage even from death? And is it not possible to gain advantage from mutilation? Do you think that Menocius gained little by death? Could a man who says so gain so much as Menocius gained? Come, man, did he not maintain the character of being a lover of his country, a man of great mind, faithful, generous? And if he had continued to live, would he not have lost all these things? Would he not have gained the opposite? Would he not have gained the name of coward, ignoble, a hater of his country, a man who feared death? Well, do you think that he gained little by dying? I suppose not. But did the father of Admetus gain much by prolonging his life so ignobly and miserably? Did he not die afterward? Cease, I adjure you by the gods, to admire things. Cease to make yourselves slaves, first of things, then, on account of things, slaves of those who are able to give them or take them away. Can advantage then be derived from these things? From all, and from him who abuses you. Wherein does the man who exercises before the combat profit the athlete? Very greatly. This man becomes my exerciser before the combat. He exercises me in endurance, in keeping my temper, in mildness. You say no, but he who lays hold of my neck and disciplines my loins and shoulders does me good. And the exercise master does right when he says, raise him up with both hands, and the heavier he is, so much the more is my advantage. But if a man exercises me in keeping my temper, does he not do good? This is not knowing how to gain an advantage from men. Is my neighbor bad? Bad to himself, but good to me. He exercises my good disposition, my moderation. Is my father bad? Bad to himself, but to me good. This is the rod of Hermes. Touch with it what you please, as the saying is, and it will be of gold. I say not so, but bring what you please, and I will make it good. Bring disease, bring death, bring poverty, bring abuse, bring trial on capital charges. All these things through the rod of Hermes shall be made profitable. What will you do with death? Why, what else than that it shall do you honor, or that it shall show you by act through it, what a man is who follows the will of nature? What will you do with disease? I will show its nature, I will be conspicuous in it, I will be firm, I will be happy, I will not flatter the physician, I will not wish to die. What else do you seek? Whatever you shall give me, I will make it happy, fortunate, honored, a thing which a man shall seek. You say no, but take care that you do not fall sick. It is a bad thing. This is the same as if you should say, take care that you never receive the impression that 3 are 4. That is bad. Man, how is it bad? If I think about it as I ought, how shall it, then, do me any damage, and shall it not even do me good? If, then, I think about poverty as I ought to do, about disease, about not having office, is not that enough for me? Will it not be an advantage? How, then, ought I any longer to look to seek evil and good in externals? What happens, these doctrines are maintained here, but no man carries them away home, but immediately every one is at war with his slave, with his neighbors, with those who have sneered at him, with those who have ridiculed him. Good luck to Lesbius, who daily proves that I know nothing. Chapter 21. Against those who readily come to the profession of sophists. They who have taken up bare theorems immediately wish to vomit them forth, as persons whose stomach is diseased do with food. First digest the thing, then do not vomit it up thus. If you do not digest it, the thing become truly an emetic, a crude food and unfit to eat. But after digestion, show us some chance in your ruling faculty, as athletes show in their shoulders by what they have been exercised and what they have eaten. As those who have taken up certain arts show by what they have learned, the carpenter does not come and say, "Hear me talk about the carpenter's art," but having undertaken to build a house, he makes it, and proves that he knows the art. You also ought to do something of the kind, eat like a man, drink like a man, dress, marry, beget children, do the office of a citizen, endure abuse, bear unreasonable brother, bear with your father, bear with your son, neighbor, compassion. Show us these things that we may see that you have in truth learned something from the philosophers. You say, "No, but come and hear me read commentaries." Go away and seek somebody to vomit them on. And indeed I will expound to you the writings of Chrysippus as no other man can. I will explain his text most clearly. I will add also, if I can, vehemence of Antipater and Archedimus. Is it, then, for this that young men shall leave their country and their parents, that they may come to this place, and hear you explain words? Ought they not to return with a capacity to endure, to be active in association with others, free from passions, free from perturbation, with such a provision for the journey of life with which they shall be able to bear well the things that happen and derive honor from them? And how can you give them any of these things which you do not possess? Have you done from the beginning anything else than employ yourself about the resolution of syllogisms, of sophistical arguments, and in those which work by questions? But such a man has a school. Why should not I also have a school? These things are not done, man, in a careless way, nor just as it may happen, but there must be a fit age and life and God as a guide. You say no, but no man sails from a port without having sacrificed to the gods and invoked their help, nor do men so without having called on Demeter. And shall a man who has undertaken so great a work undertake it safely without the gods? And shall they who undertake this work come to it with success? What else are you doing, man, than divulging the mysteries? You say, "There is a temple at Eleusis, and one here also. There is an hierophant at Eleusis, and I also will make an hierophant. There is a herald, and I will establish a herald. There is a torch bearer at Eleusis, and I also will establish a torch bearer. There are torches at Eleusis, and I will have torches here." The words are the same. How do the things done here differ from those done there? Most impious man, is there no difference? These things are done both in due place and in due time, and when accompanied with sacrifice and prayers, when a man is first purified, and when he is disposed in his mind to the thought that he is going to approach sacred rites and ancient rites. In this way the mysteries are useful. In this way we come to the notion that all these things were established by the ancients for the instruction and correction of life. But you publish and divulge them out of time, out of place, without sacrifices, without purity. You have not the garments which the hierophant ought to have, nor the hair, nor the head, dress, nor the voice, nor the age, nor have you purified yourself as he has. But you have committed to memory the words only, And you say, "Sacred are the words by themselves." You ought to approach these matters in another way. The thing is great, it is mystical, not a common thing, nor is it given to every man. But not even wisdom, perhaps, is enough to enable a man to take care of youths. A man must have also a certain readiness and fitness for this purpose, and a certain quality of body, and above all things he must have God to advise him to occupy this office, as God advised Socrates to occupy the place of one who confutes error, Diogenes the office of royalty and reproof, and the office of teaching precepts. But you open a doctor's shop, though you have nothing except physic, but where and how they should be applied, you know not, nor have you taken any trouble about it. See, that man says, "I too have salve for the eyes." Have you also the power of using them? Do you know both when and how they will do good, and to whom they will do good? Why then do you act at hazard in things of the greatest importance? Why are you careless? Why do you undertake a thing that is in no way fit for you? Leave it to those who are able to do it, and to do it well. Do not yourself bring disgrace on philosophy through your own acts, and be not one of those who load it with a bad reputation. But if theorems please you, sit still and turn them over by yourself, but never say that you are a philosopher, nor allow another to say it, but say, "He is mistaken, for neither are my desires different from what they were before, nor is my activity directed to other objects, nor do I assent to other things, nor in the use of appearances have I altered at all from my former condition." This you must think and say about yourself, if you would think as you ought. If not, act at hazard, and do what you are doing, for it becomes you. Chapter 22, about Cynicism. When one of his pupils inquired of Epictetus, and he was a person who appeared to be inclined to Cynicism, what kind of person a cynic ought to be, and what was the notion of the thing, we will inquire, said Epictetus at leisure. But I have so much to say to you that he who without God attempts so great a matter is hateful to God, and has no other purpose than to act indecently in public. For in any well-managed house no man comes forward and says to himself, "I ought to be manager of the house." If he does so, the master turns round, and seeing him insolently giving orders, drags him forth and flogs him. So it is also in this great city, for here also there is a master of the house who orders everything. You are the son. You can by going round make the year and seasons, and make the fruits grow and nourish them, and stir the winds and make them remit, and warm the bodies of men properly. Go, travel round, and so administer things from the greatest to the least. You are a calf. When a lion shall appear, do your proper business. If you do not, you will suffer. You are a bull. Advance and fight, for this is your business and becomes you, and you can do it. You can lead the army against Ilium, be Agamemnon. You can fight in single combat against Hector, be Achilles. But if Thersites came forward and claimed the command, he would either not have obtained it, or if he did obtain it, he would have disgraced himself before many witnesses. Do you also think about the matter carefully. It is not what it seems to you. I wear a cloak now, and I shall wear it then. I sleep hard now, and I shall sleep hard then. I will take in addition a little bag now and a staff, and I will go about and begin to beg and to abuse those whom I meet. And if I see any man plucking the hair out of his body, I will rebuke him, or if he has dressed his hair, or if he walks about in purple. If you imagine the thing to be such as this, keep far away from it. Do not approach it. It is not at all for you. But if you imagine it to be what it is, and do not think yourself to be unfit for it, consider what great thing you undertake. In the first place, in the things which relate to yourself, you must not be in any respect like what you do now. You must not blame God or man. You must take away desire. Altogether, you must transfer avoidance only to the things which are within the power of the will. You must not feel anger, nor resentment, nor envy, nor pity. A girl must not appear handsome to you, nor must you love a little reputation, nor be pleased with a boy or a cake. For you ought to know that the rest of men throw walls around them and houses and darkness when they do any such things. And they have many means of concealment. A man shuts the door, he sets somebody before the chamber. If a person comes, say that he is out, he is not at leisure. But the cynic, instead of all these things, must use modesty as his protection. If he does not, he will be indecent in his nakedness and under the open sky. This is his house, his door. This is the slave before his bedchamber. This is his darkness, for he ought not to wish to hide anything that he does. And if he does, he is gone. He has lost the character of a cynic, of a man who lives under the open sky, of a free man. He has begun to fear some external thing. He has begun to have need of concealment, nor can he get concealment when he chooses. For where shall he hide himself, and how? And if by chance this public instructor shall be detected, this pedagogue, what kind of things will he be compelled to suffer? When then a man fears these things, is it possible for him to be bold with his whole soul to superintend men? It cannot be. It is impossible. In the first place, then, you must make your ruling faculty pure, and this mode of life also. Now, to me the matter to work on is my understanding, as wood is to the carpenter, as hides to the shoemaker. And my business is the right use of appearances. But the body is nothing to me, the parts of it are nothing to me. Death, let it come when it chooses, either death of the whole or of a part. Fly, you say, and whither? Can any man eject me out of the world? He cannot. But wherever I go, there is the sun, there is the moon, there are the stars, dreams, omens, and the conversation with gods. Then, if he is thus prepared, the true cynic cannot be satisfied with this, but he must know that he has sent a messenger from Zeus to men about good and bad things, to show them that they have wandered and are seeking the substance of good and evil where it is not, but where it is, they never think, and that he is a spy, as Diogenes was carried off to Philip after the battle of Chaeronea as a spy. For in fact, a cynic is a spy of the things which are good for men and which are evil, and it is his duty to examine carefully and to come and report truly, and not to be struck with terror so as to point out as enemies those who are not enemies, nor in any other way to be perturbed by appearances, nor confounded. It is his duty, then, to be able with a loud voice, if the occasion should arise, and appearing on the tragic stage, to say, like Socrates, "Men, whither are you hurrying? What are you doing, wretches? Like blind people you are wandering up and down. You are going by another road, and have left the true road. You seek for prosperity and happiness where they are not, and if another shows you where they are, you do not believe him. Why do you seek it without? In the body it is not there. If you doubt, look at Myro, look at Ophelius. In possessions it is not there. But if you do not believe me, look at Croesus. Look at those who are now rich, with what lamentations their life is filled. In power it is not there. If it is, those must be happy who have been twice and thrice consuls, but they are not. Whom shall we believe in these matters? You who from without see their affairs and are dazzled by an appearance, or the men themselves? What do they say? Hear them when they groan, when they grieve, when on account of these very consulships and glory and splendor, they think that they are more wretched and in greater danger. Is it in royal power? It is not. If it were, Nero would have been happy, and Sardanapalus. But neither was Agamemnon happy, though he was a better man than Sardanapalus and Nero. But while others are snoring, what is he doing? Much from his head he tore his rooted hair. And what does he say himself? I am perplexed, he says, and disturbed I am, and my heart out of my bosom is leaping. Wretch, which of your affairs goes badly? Your possessions, no. Your body, no. But you are rich in gold and copper. What then is the matter with you? That part of you, whatever it is, has been neglected by you and is corrupted. The part with which we desire, with which we avoid, with which we move toward and move from things. How neglected! He knows not the nature of good for which he is made by nature and the nature of evil, and what is his own, and what belongs to another. And when anything that belongs to others goes badly, he says, "Woe to me, for the Hellenes are in danger." Wretched is his ruling faculty, and alone, neglected, and uncared for. The Hellenes are going to die, destroyed by the Trojans. And if the Trojans do not kill them, will they not die? Yes, but not all at once. What difference, then, does it make? For if death is an evil, whether men die altogether, or if they die singly, it is equally an evil. Is anything else then going to happen than the separation of the soul and the body? Nothing. And if the Hellenes perish, is the door closed, and is it not in your power to die? It is. Why then do you lament, O, you who are a king and have the scepter of Zeus? An unhappy king does not exist more than an unhappy god. What then art thou? In truth a shepherd, for you weep as shepherds do, when a wolf has carried off one of their sheep. And these who are governed by you are sheep. And why did you come hither? Was your desire in any danger? Was your aversion? Was your movement? Was your avoidance of things? He replies, No, but the wife of my brother was carried off. Was it not then a great gain to be deprived of an adulterous wife? Shall we be despised, then, by the Trojans? What kind of people are the Trojans, wise or foolish? If they are wise, why do you fight with them? If they are fools, why do you care about them? In what, then, is the good, since it is not in these things? Tell us, you who are Lord, messenger, and spy, where you do not think that it is, nor choose to seek it. For if you chose to seek it, you would have found it to he in yourselves, nor would you be wandering out of the way, nor seeking what belongs to others as if it were your own. Turn your thoughts into yourselves. Observe the preconceptions which you have. What kind of a thing do you imagine the good to be? That which flows easily, that which is happy, that which is not impeded. Come, and do you not naturally imagine it to be great? Do you not imagine it to be valuable? Do you not imagine it to be free from harm? In what material then ought you to seek for that which flows easily, for that which is not impeded? In that which serves, or in that which is free? In that which is free. Do you possess the body, then, free, or is it in servile condition? We do not know. Do you not know that it is the slave of fever, of gout, ophthalmia, dysentery, of a tyrant, of fire, of iron, of everything which is stronger? Yes, it is a slave. How, then, is it possible that anything which belongs to the body can be free from hindrance? And how is a thing great or valuable which is naturally dead, or earth, or mud? Well then, do you possess nothing which is free? Perhaps nothing. And who is able to compel you to assent to that which appears false? No man. And who can compel you not to assent to that which appears true? No man. By this, then, you see that there is something in you naturally free. But to desire or to be averse from, or to move toward an object or to move from it, or to prepare yourself, or to propose to do anything, which of you can do this, unless he has received an impression of the appearance of that which is profitable or a duty? No man. You have, then, in these thongs also something which is not hindered and is free. Wretched men, work out this, take care of this, seek for good here. And how is it possible that a man who has nothing, who is naked, houseless, without a hearth, squalid, without a slave, without a city, can pass a life that flows easily? See, God has sent you a man to show you that it is possible. Look at me, who am without a city, without a house, without possessions, without a slave. I sleep on the ground. I have no wife, no children, no praetorium, but only the earth and heavens, and one poor cloak. And what do I want? Am I not without sorrow? Am I not without fear? Am I not free? When did any of you see me failing in the object of my desire, or ever falling into that which I would avoid? Did I ever blame God or man? Did I ever accuse any man? Did any of you ever see me with sorrowful countenance? And how do I meet with those whom you are afraid of and admire? Do not I treat them like slaves, who, when he sees me, does not think that he sees his king and master? This is the language of the Cynics, this their character, this is their purpose. You say no, but their characteristic is the little wallet, and staff, and great jaws, the devouring of all that you give them, or storing it up, or the abusing unseasonably all whom they meet, or displaying their shoulder as a fine thing. Do you see how you are going to undertake so great a business? First, take a mirror, look at your shoulders, observe your loins, your thighs. You are going, my man, to be enrolled as a combatant in the Olympic Games, no frigid and miserable contest. In the Olympic Games a man is not permitted to be conquered only and to take his departure, but first he must be disgraced in the sight of all the world, not in the sight of Athenians only, or of Lacedaemonians, or of Nicopolitans. Next he must be whipped also if he has entered into the contests rashly, and before being whipped he must suffer thirst and heat, and swallow much dust. Reflect more carefully, know thyself, consult the divinity, without God attempt nothing, for if he shall advise you, be assured that he intends you to become great or to receive many blows. For this very amusing quality is conjoined to a cynic. He must be flogged like an ass, and when he is flogged, he must love those who flog him, as if he were the father of all and the brother of all. You say no, but if a man flogs you, stand in the public place and call out, Caesar, what do I suffer in this state of peace under thy protection? Let us bring the offender before the proconsul. But what is Caesar to a cynic, or what is a proconsul, or what is any other, except him who sent the cynic down hither, and whom he serves, namely, Zeus? Does he call upon any other than Zeus? Is he not convinced that, whatever he suffers, it is Zeus who is exercising him? Hercules, when he was exercised by Eurystheus, did not think that he was wretched, but without hesitation he attempted to execute all that he had in hand. And is he who is trained to the contest, and exercised by Zeus, going to call out and to be vexed? He who is worthy to bear the scepter of Diogenes. Hear what Diogenes says to the passers. By when he is in a fever, miserable wretches, will you not stay? But are you going so long a journey to Olympia to see the destruction or the fight of athletes? And will you not choose to see the combat between a fever and a man? Would such a man accuse God who sent him down as if God were treating him unworthily? A man who gloried in his circumstances and claimed to be an example to those who were passing by. For what shall he accuse him of? Because he maintains a decency of behavior, because he displays his virtue more conspicuously. Well, and what does he say of poverty, about death, about pain? How did he compare his own happiness with that of the great king? Or rather he thought that there was no comparison between them. For where there are perturbations, and griefs, and fears, and desires not satisfied, and aversions of things which you cannot avoid, and envies and jealousies, how is there a road to happiness there? But where there are corrupt principles, there these things must of necessity be. When the young man asked, if when a cynic is sick, and a friend asks him to come to his house and be taken care of in his sickness, shall the cynic accept the invitation? He replied, And where shall you find, I ask, a cynic's friend? For the man who invites ought to be such another as that he may be worthy of being reckoned the cynic's friend. He ought to be a partner in the cynic's scepter and his royalty, and a worthy minister, if he intends to be considered worthy of a cynic's friendship, as Diogenes was a friend of Antisthenes, as Crates was a friend of Diogenes. You think that, if a man comes to a cynic and salutes him, he is the cynic's friend, and that the cynic will think him worthy of receiving a cynic into his house, so that, if you please, reflect on this also, rather look round for some convenient dunghill on which you shall bear your fever, and which will shelter you from the north wind that you may not be chilled. But you seem to me to wish to go into some man's house and to be well fed there for a time. Why then do you think of attempting so great a thing? But, said the young man, shall marriage and the procreation of children as a chief duty be undertaken by the cynic? If you grant me a community of wise men, Epictetus replies, perhaps no man will readily apply himself to the cynic practice. For on whose account should he undertake this manner of life? However, if we suppose that he does, nothing will prevent him from marrying and begetting children, for his wife will be another like himself, and his father-in-law another like himself, and his children will be brought up like himself. But in the present state of things, which is like that of an army placed in battle order, is it not fit that the cynic should without any distraction be employed only on administration of God, able to go about among men, not tied down to the common duties of mankind, nor entangled in the ordinary relations of life, which if he neglects, he will not maintain the character of an honorable and good man, and if he observes them, he will lose the character of the messenger, and spy and herald of God. For consider that it is his duty to do something toward his father-in-law, something to the other kinsfolk of his wife, something to his wife also. He is also excluded by being a cynic from looking after the sickness of his own family, and from providing for their support. And, to say nothing of the rest, he must have a vessel for heating water for the child, that he may wash it in the bath, wool for his wife when she is delivered of a child, oil, a bed, a cup, so the furniture of the house is increased. I say nothing of his other occupations and of his distraction. Where, then, now is that king, he who devotes himself to the public interests, people's guardian and so full of cares, whose duty it is to look after others, the married and those who have children, to see who uses his wife well, who uses her badly, who quarrels, what family is well administered, what is not, going about as a physician does and feels pulses. He says to one, you have a fever, to another, you have a headache or the gout. He says to one, abstain from food, to another he says, eat, or do not use the bath, to another, you require the knife or the cautery. How can he have time for this who is tied to the duties of common life? Is it not his duty to supply clothing to his children, and to send them to the schoolmaster with writing tablets and styles? Besides, must he not supply them with beds? For they cannot be genuine cynics as soon as they are born. If he does not do this, it would be better to expose the children as soon as they are born than to kill them in this way. Consider what we are bringing the cynic down to, how we are taking his royalty from him. Yes, but Crates took a wife. You are speaking of a circumstance which arose from love and of a woman who was another Crates. But we are inquiring about ordinary marriages and those which are free from distractions, and making this inquiry, we do not find the affair of marriage in this state of the world a thing which is especially suited to the cynic. How, then, shall a man maintain the existence of society? In the name of God, are those men greater benefactors to society who introduce into the world to occupy their own places 2 or 3 grunting children, or those who superintend as far as they can all mankind and see what they do, how they live, what they attend to, what they neglect contrary to their duty? Did they who left little children to the Thebans do them more good than Epaminondas, who died childless, and did Priamus, who begat 50 worthless sons, or Danaus or Aeolus contribute more to the community than Homer? Then shall the duty of a general or the business of a writer exclude a man from marriage or the begetting of children, and such a man shall not be judged to have accepted the condition of childlessness for nothing. And shall not the royalty of a cynic be considered an equivalent for the want of children? Do we not perceive his grandeur, and do we not justly contemplate the character of Diogenes? And do we, instead of this, turn our eyes to the present? Cynics, who are dogs that wait at tables, and in no respect imitate the cynics of old except perchance in breaking wind, but in nothing else. For such matters would not have moved us at all, nor should. We have wondered if a cynic should not marry or beget children. Man, the cynic, is the father of all men. The men are his sons, the women are his daughters. He so carefully visits all, so well does he care for all. Do you think that it is from idle impertinence that he rebukes those whom he meets? He does it as a father, as a brother, and as the minister of the Father of all, the minister of Zeus. If you please, ask me also if a cynic shall engage in the administration of the state. Fool, do you seek a greater form of administration than that in which he is engaged? Do you ask if he shall appear among the Athenians and say something about the revenues and the supplies, he who must talk with all men, alike with Athenians, alike with Corinthians, alike with Romans, not about supplies, nor yet about revenues, nor about peace or war, but about happiness and unhappiness, about good fortune and bad fortune, about slavery and freedom? When a man has undertaken the administration of such a state, do you ask me if he shall engage in the administration of a state? Ask me also if he shall govern. Again I will say to you, fool, what greater government shall he exercise than that which he exercises now? It is necessary also for such a man to have a certain habit of body, for if he appears to be consumptive, thin, and pale, his testimony has not then the same weight. For he must not only by showing the qualities of the soul prove to the vulgar that it is in his power independent of the things which they admire to be a good man, but he must also show by his body that his simple and frugal way of living in the open air does not injure even the body. See, he says, I am a proof of this, and my own body also is. So Diogenes used to do, for he used to go about fresh looking, and he attracted the notice of the many by his personal appearance. But if a cynic is an object of compassion, he seems to a beggar. All persons turn away from him, all are offended with him, for neither ought he to appear dirty, so that he shall not also in this respect drive away men, but his very roughness ought to be clean and attractive. There ought also to belong to the cynic much natural grace and sharpness, and if this is not so, he is a stupid fellow and nothing else. And he must have these qualities that he may be able readily and fitly to be a match for all circumstances that may happen. So Diogenes replied to one who said, Are you the Diogenes who does not believe that there are gods? And how, replied Diogenes, can this be when I think that you are odious to the gods? On another occasion, in reply to Alexander, who stood by him when he was sleeping, and quoted Homer's line, A man a counselor should not sleep all night, he answered, when he was half asleep, People's guardian and so full of cares. But before all the cynic's ruling faculty must be purer than the sun, and if it is not, he must be a cunning knave and a fellow of no principle, since while he himself is entangled in some vice, he will reprove others. For see how the matter stands. To these kings and tyrants, their guards and arms give the power of reproving some persons, and of being able even to punish those who do wrong, though they are themselves bad. But to a cynic, instead of arms and guards, it is conscience which gives this power. When he knows that B has watched and labored for mankind, and has slept pure, and sleep has left him still purer, and that he thought whatever he has thought as a friend of the gods, as a minister, as a participator of the power of Zeus, and that on all occasions he is ready to say, Lead me, O Zeus, and thou, O Destiny, and also, if so it pleases the gods, so let it be. Why should he not have confidence to speak freely to his own brothers, to his children, in a word to his kinsmen? For this reason he is neither over-curious nor a busybody when he is in this state of mind. For he is not a meddler with the affairs of others when He is superintending human affairs, but he is looking after his own affairs. If that is not so, you may also say that the general is a busybody when he inspects his soldiers and examines them and watches them and punishes the disorderly. But if, while you have a cake under your arm, you rebuke others, I will say to you, will you not rather go away into a corner and eat that which you have stolen? What have you to do with the affairs of others? For who are you? Are you the bull of the herd, or the queen of the bees? Show me the tokens of your supremacy, such as they have from nature. But if you are a drone claiming the sovereignty over the bees, do you not suppose that your fellow citizens will put you down as the bees do the drones? The cynic also ought to have such power of endurance as to seem insensible to the common sort and a stone. No man reviles him, no man strikes him, no man insults him, but he gives his body that any man who chooses may do with it what he likes. For he bears in mind that the inferior must be overpowered by the superior in that in which it is inferior, and the body is inferior to the many, the weaker to the stronger. He never then descends into such a contest in which he can be overpowered, but he immediately withdraws from things which belong to others. He claims not the things which are servile. Where there is will and the use of appearances, there you will see how many eyes he has, so that you may say, Argus was blind compared with him. Is his assent ever hasty, his movement rash? Does his desire ever fall in its object? Does that which he would avoid befall him? Is his purpose unaccomplished? Does he ever find fault? Is he ever humiliated? Is he ever envious? To these he directs all his attention and energy, but as to everything else he snores supine. All is peace. There is no robber who takes away his will, no tyrant. But what say you as to his body? I say there is. And as to magistracies and honors, what does he care for them? When then any person would frighten him through them, he says to him, Begone, look for children. Masks are formidable to them. But I know that they are made of shell, and they have nothing inside. About such a matter as this you are deliberating. Therefore, if you please, I urge you in God's name, defer the matter, and first consider your preparation for it. For see what Hector says to Andromache, retire rather. He says, into the house and weave. War is the work of men of all indeed, but specially 'tis mine. So he was conscious of his own qualification, and knew her weakness.